What you are about to hear is a dramatization. What exactly happened that night is not entirely known. Conway was dragged back to the cave by his now Salaji cannibalistic wife, Lisa, and he groaned the whole way, and then she pulled him into the coal mining cave, and then she put him in her little corner of the cave. And then she lit up a piece of coal and then grabbed a hunk of meat, a mysterious hunk of meat, and put it on the hot coal, and it began to sizzle like any other burger. And Conway finally came to and said, "Where am I?" And Lisa looked over at him and said, "Morning, sweetheart." And then he said, "Lisa, what are you doing here?" And she said, "I'm with my new family now. This is my new home. And it can be yours too." And he said, "Lisa, I don't know what you're talking about." And she said, "Oh, yeah, you wouldn't, would you?" "Yeah, because I'm still trapped in the mountain that you left me in, Conway." And he said, What? I tried to find you. I thought you were dead. You fell off a cliff." And then Lisa interrupted him saying, "Did you find a body?" "Yeah, didn't think so." "Well, I thought that maybe a bear carried you off." And Lisa said, "Okay. You have any evidence of that? Did the police tell you anything? Or did you just assume that?" And Conway hung his head low. "Tell me, Conway, what have you been doing these past 5 weeks? Ever since I've gone missing?" "Let me guess, drinking and wallowing in your self-pity." "I tried to get the kids back." And she said, "Well, Conway Waylon Parker, maybe they wouldn't have been taken away if you hadn't done that to me." You're right, Lisa. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, come back with me." And she said, "Oh, why? So I can come with you back to the house and we can get the kids back and I can raise the 2 kids and comfort you in your self-pity and your drinking and nurse you through your hangovers, all while taking care of 2 kids." "Yeah, take a wild guess, but I don't want to do that." "Lisa, I'm so sorry." "Stop with the 'I'm sorry,' Connie, and stop crying." And Conway presumably straightened up. And then she said, "I got a pretty good thing going here, Conway. You see, I have it made down here, and you can have it made down here too. I can hunt for free food, no game warden, and if I don't catch anything, my brothers will catch something for me, and I can eat it. And I don't have to pay any bills down here because we light the place with hot coals and lanterns. So we got a free light and a free stove. And also, we have a generator down here that we use to listen to music. And we watch movies on the television that we stole. Because the thing about the Salaji is you can use technology just as long as you hunt in the primitive ways. And you consume our fleshy diet. And he said, okay, but what about the kids? And she said, well, they think that I'm dead. And I hate to say it, but I might not ever be able to talk to them again. Because if I do, they're going to tell their grandparents. And then they're going to bring the police in this mountain. And I can't let anyone discover where we hide out. I can't do that, Connie. And they said, okay, well, what if I talk to the kids and tell them I'm up in the mountain, in the cabin, because I wouldn't technically be lying. I am up in the mountain. And she said, oh, okay. You know, that could work. I could cover for you every weekend. You could call the kids. And who knows? Maybe you can FaceTime them from time to time. And he said, oh, okay, yeah, that could actually work, but I would still miss actually seeing our kids and feeling them with me. And she said, okay, I understand that, Connie, but this cave has warm places inside, and perhaps we could get used to life down here and have another child down here, and they would be raised in our way of life. But children have been born here before. And then Connie said, oh, I don't know. Having a child in a place like this, I don't know. And she said, think about it. Will you? And he said, all right, okay. But what about my sister? And she said, what about her? She's here to help me. And what do I say? Say you're staying on the mountain. Simple as that. And okay, I guess that could work, but what about Ethan? Ethan? You mean the YouTuber who's here and who's an investigative journalist also and can bring the police here? That Ethan? Yes. Connie, you need to kill him. What? I don't know. Ethan's my friend. I don't know if I could do that. Kill him or leave me forever. And he said, okay, well, what if I just stay here on the mountain and I see you from time to time? And then I can go and see the kids. Connie, I can't trust you to do that. You might bring the police here, or the National Guard, or stars. What? Stars? It doesn't matter, Connie. No, I can't let you do that. I won't. I promise. I promise I won't tell anyone. Please. No. No, Ethan likely knows, and you need to kill him. All right. And we also need to eat him, because this is part of the initiation. Eat him? But his family, they'll never get closure. Any kind of closure, like I did with you. And whose fault is that, Connie? Mine. But no, I'm not going to do that to another family. No, I'm not going to do it. Lisa, you need to come back with me. Please. I'll take care of you. Okay. Do a couple things for me first, Connie. I need you to say, I am an alcoholic abuser who abandoned his wife. Okay. I am an alcoholic abuser who abandoned my wife. Okay? And she said, louder. I am an alcoholic abuser who abandoned my wife. Louder. I am an alcoholic abuser who abandoned my wife. And Conway wept and wept more. And Lisa said, stop your wailing, Waylon. Why are you calling me by my middle name? And then she said, all right, maybe I can get off this mountain. Maybe you guys can protect me because I know you have guns. Yeah. But I have one more question, Connie. If we get off this mountain together, do you promise to never, ever drink alcohol ever again? And I am serious. Do you? Conway thought for a moment and looked down at his shoes, and then looked up and replied, no. Lisa's eyes welled with tears, and she knew what she had to do. So she grabbed her tomahawk, and Conway flinched in fear and started crawling away, but she struck him right in the back with the tomahawk, and he collapsed and screamed. And he said, Lisa, I'm your husband. And she raised the tomahawk and said, I know, Connie. And he said, I love you, Lisa. I love you too, Connie. And then the tomahawk rained down and split Conway Waylon Parker's skull. And he lay there. Applause rang out as Jeremiah Cragg stepped out and said, Oh, I'm proud of you. And then they heard the footsteps at the entrance of the cave. Meanwhile, Ethan, Mia, and Gaduji were out at the front, and then They knew what they had to do. As soon as a Salagi stepped in front of them with its long antlers and the mask, and then raised 2 tomahawks, and then bam! Mia shot him with the rifle right in the face of the mask, and the bullet went right through its head, and it collapsed on the ground, and it was no more. And they ran down the proverbial hallway that was made by the mining, and then they went into the corner where Conway's body was. And Mia exclaimed, "Connie! Oh, Connie!" And Jeremiah said, "Oh yeah, oh Connie indeed. Don't you worry, he's going to be a great meal." And then Gaduji looked at him and said, "Gaduji, Jeremiah? Jeremiah, that's right. Yeah, I've been living here since 2009, mate. Yeah, and I've loved every minute of it. No bills to pay, no shopping required. And whenever I do need shopping, like new movies, or lanterns, or blankets, I send one of my guys out there, like Billy, a guy that you killed. And I tell you what, if you just help me cook and eat Conway, I'll let you in. I'll let you in. And I will forgive you for killing Billy. What do you say?" And Ethan wasted no time at all and shot him with a shotgun right in the face. And Jeremiah collapsed to the floor, and that was the end of him. And Lisa looked at Ethan in disgust. "You costed me my life and my husband." And Ethan pointed the shotgun at her and said, "I think you've done that yourself." And then she threw a tomahawk right at Ethan, and thank God Ethan was able to dodge it right on time. And Mia still wept. And then, as if right on cue, Lisa sprung up and then ran. And then Mia wasted no time in chasing her. And then Ethan chased right after her. And Gaduji yelled, it's okay. I'm going to take Conway's body and I'm going to drive his body back down the mountain in the snowmobile. Go get her. And I ran as fast as I possibly could, and I knew just where they were going. They were going to the old cabin because the cabin was designed for Conway and Lisa to get away. They designed that cabin so they could have some time away from the kids. And I found out later, that's why the Kama Sutra book was there. They're not going to do that in front of their kids. And then they ran right into the cabin. And it is by pure dumb luck that the cabin was full of smoke. Not only from the fire that Mia had set in the fireplace, but to the fact that I was cooking coffee and I forgot to turn the stove off. And there was a fire and it was full of smoke. And then I remembered, it's a kerosene stove right next to a gallon of gas. And then I screamed at Mia, go through the window and shoot right next to the the kerosene stove. There's gasoline and kerosene. It'll kill her. And just as Lisa ran into the cabin, Mia took aim with the rifle and through the window, and thank God she had shot earlier that day. She took aim and she fired. There went the cabin and Lisa. Fire was all around her, and she knew her arms and knees were burning, and she wouldn't get out because the armor was too heavy to take off, and her wooden mask caught fire, and she said, "I'm coming, Connie." And those were her last words. I'd like to think they're in heaven together, but I don't know. But after that, Mia, and understandably so, said, "Good riddance." By that time, the sun was almost up, and we went back to the house. I called the helicopter pilot, Mooch, and I made sure to escort Mia over to the makeshift helipad. Whoa, 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 whoa. And Mooch landed, and we got in with our luggage again, and we put him in the rider's seat, in the passenger seat, and we got in the back of the chopper. And I just held my arms around Lisa. Not Lisa, Mia. I was glad Lisa was dead, and Mia was too. But I wrapped my arms around Mia while she cried. And Mooch, he didn't have to ask what happened to Conway. And so we landed, and I had to practically carry Mia to my car. She was crying so much. And then I drove her to my house in complete silence, and I put her in my guest bedroom. And I had Gaduji's number. I guess I'll call it tomorrow.